Guys, this thing, it turns just a little bit. But I think it's better than nothing with the short wheelbase. Hit the button and it self-centers. What is going on, guys? So before I strip this thing down to do all the wiring, we need to see where I have room to run wires along underneath the gas tank, along the frame, kind of see where everything's laid out before I go ahead and rip the motor out and take all the plastics and racks off. With that being said, because this is a little bit more work than I thought, and I kind of want to just run the wires while everything is stripped down, yes, I know I still have about 6-7 weeks before mud gnats. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, but we're going to try. We're going to try. We know we got to run everything to, I'm thinking I'm going to put the relay box in here and put a 50 amp hour battery in the trunk, or I'm going to build a custom box for it. So we know that. So wires can easily run along the top part of that frame. Where everything gets messy is all right here where the power steering control module is, where the rear steer control module is, where the winch is. I have all this stuff going on, and I believe the winch relay box is underneath the winch. So got a lot going on. I'm just going to poke my head in and see how much room we have for wiring, which even with this tank, it's hard to tell, guys, but got plenty of room for wiring along this tank. And that's what I really wanted to see, is how aggressive can I be with the wiring. And it looks like I got plenty of room. This air box to run the factory snorkel needs to tie in to the frame right there, and because this is not a factory air box, it's a metal air box, we're gonna have to make that work somehow, probably easily with some rubber boots. But good thing is we have plenty of room for wiring going down this frame. Looks like I even have room on the outside of the frame right here if this gets too crowded, so that's good to know. I'm gonna start stripping the racks off, strip the plastics off, the tank, the air box, the carb, and get this thing down to the bare frame so that I can easily wire this bike up, because I'm thinking I just want to go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and get it done, wire everything up. I'm not going to custom sleeve it. I'm just going to wire it up and put some Tesa tape just where I think everything needs to go, and I can adjust it as needed. I went ahead and took the ignition and all the switches and I put them on one big quick connect. Factory harness, that is also done. As far as everything else, that's what I'm gonna slowly start working on. I'm waiting on my 18 gauge wire to come in because I'm not about to run 14 gauge wire for everything. This is a factory option, so the pink wire is hot after the switch. So whenever you turn the switch on, whatever this is connected to will have power. This I think is for the plug that used to be on the side of the handlebars. I might be able to use this for something else, so I just got it taped up for now. As far as this plug right here, this is what usually plugs in above your carburetor. This has your oil temp sensor. The green is the neutral light and the gray is the reverse light. Because of the gear reduction, the four-wheeler doesn't know when it's in reverse or when it's in neutral, but you need it to think that it's in neutral just so you can start it. I took the green wire, which is the neutral light indicator, and I just ground it. So any wire that's green is ground. Turns out the two fuses in the back, you have your main fuse and your optional fuse, which is working out really nice for me. Like you see this right here, the red wire is your power, the pink and white is also your power, but it's for any optional features. The pink and white is hot to the switch, the pink is hot after the switch, the red is hot to the switch, the black is hot after the switch. The red and black is for any factory stuff. I didn't touch any of that, but what I did do is this is going to be the power steering switch, but I only want, if I leave it on and turn the key off, I want this to turn off. These two will stay hot because that's my reverse light and my rock lights. These will stay hot, so these are tapped into the pink and white wire, which are hot constantly, and the pink is this one's tapped into the pink wire. That way it only gets 12 volts whenever the key's turned on. So that's pretty cool. That's convenient. Also, what I'm doing is, the way the relay is wired, you can either have a ground switch activated to where the switch is on the ground side of the relay, so that whenever the relay is grounded, it completes the contact. The way I'm doing this one is because these wires were already here, and like I said, I'm still waiting for the 18 gauge wire. So these 3 spots left are the wires that need to go from the switches through here all the way back to the relay box. So the way I'm doing it is I'm jumping off of the 12 volts for the pink and white. I mean, it's a nice 14 gauge wire, and I'm sending the signal wires from the switches back through here to the relay, and the relay would just be grounded right off the relay box. Another issue that we have, these switches up here, I absolutely like them. I just don't like how big this is. I just bought this to kind of get a size reference of what was going on and to see how these were mounted in there. I would like to get one that mounts right here, scoot this over and mount a three-way right here without hitting this. And they make them, but they come from China and they won't be here till like March 5th. So we'll see how that goes. But they have a 3 position, which is what I need. I need left, right, and self-center. The racks are not leveled yet, probably about a quarter, half-inch off. So I'm thinking this is an easy fix, but at least now I know that it's doable. Looking at the control modules, I think they're tucked far underneath there to where you're not really gonna see it. I think it's gonna look clean enough. So all that's staying up front because the winch needs to get power from up front. The rear steer needs to get power from up front. The power steering control module needs to get power from up front. So I'm going to leave a lot of this stuff up front and either run a bus bar, or y'all are going to kill me, just for testing purposes. I might run some thick gauge wire to the batteries on the back when I get the batteries in, and just tie in the winch and the power steering on top of these 2 terminals. It's not the right way to do it, but it would work just for testing, because you're not going to use the winch, the power steering, and the rear steer all at the same time. I might not even use the power steering. So really, it's just to kind of test everything out, but with some really thick gauge wire, I think I'm going to be all right. What I'm doing now is hooking everything up. So I'm about to hook up the rear steer, self-center control module and all that, just to make sure everything is where it needs to be. The batteries that I'm ordering, I ordered one to start with. It's a 100 amp hour mini Bluetooth. Bluetooth because with lithium batteries, you don't know what your actual percentage is because it's constant 12.8 volts. I for sure know I can fit the 100 amp hour mini series in the back. We're gonna have to build a trunk for it, protect it away from the heat. It would barely fit in here if I cut off these tabs which mount the plastic. Actual plastic sits about 1.5 inches higher than this, so it should barely clear. I ordered one just to play with it first, just to kind of mock it up. So if I can fit 200 amp hours of lithium in here, that'd be crazy, and I would be a happy camper. Just looking around, I thought about trying to mount the winch down here. At first I thought it was just going to tuck in there barely. It does not. That would have been nice because then I could fit a full-size 140 amp hour lithium battery up front. But just kind of getting everything where it needs to be for now. But this is how she's looking. Don't worry about the mess that I have going on here. I ripped the battery out the other 300, put it in here. I have the switch just dangling down here. But guys, this thing works good. So the little module's up there, so you turn it on. Red light starts flashing, and I didn't realize this is also a momentary switch. So if you push the switch, that little A comes on right there. I didn't even know this was a thing, but apparently this thing has auto rear steer. So let me go ahead and show you guys. This is just testing purposes right now. I got it just ran all the way back. So I can go turn left, which will make the tires turn right so that the bike will go left. Go the other way. Guys, this thing, it turns just a little bit, but I think it's better than nothing with the short wheelbase. Hit the button and it self-centers. So it's pretty cool. There's a little gauge right here, but let me put it in the auto. So you just push this and you see that auto light comes on. Put this right here just so you can look at it. You can see it goes back to center. This thing is freaking cool. Probably wearing out that battery. I definitely just wanted to make sure that works because I didn't even know if it worked because I couldn't tell you the last time. This thing's been sitting for years, so I'm just glad that it worked. Now the fun part is stripping it all back down to go ahead and get ready for the wiring harness and go ahead and run everything nice and neat. So that way when the new motor comes in, this thing hopefully goes back together cherry. I don't know why I said cherry. This thing is an animal. So yeah, I need to reroute these hoses. Definitely going to get hydraulic fluid everywhere. But hey, that's okay. At least we know that that works. Got some handlebar switches coming in. And those are going to control the winches, the on and off switch for the rear steer, as well as the mode select for the auto self-centering because I didn't know that was a thing. So that's why I'm testing these things out to see where am I going to have to run wires and everything. But I'm still waiting on the 18 gauge wire to come in. The motor is out. The motor is on the ground in the back. I guess I can go ahead and start adding oil to the portals because there's no oil in the portals. I need to go ahead and wire up this winch. Now that I know that I don't necessarily need a relay for the power switch for the power steering, I don't think I need a relay because that's low voltage wire that tells these things to turn on. They have their own solenoid box and everything. I don't need a relay for the rear steer. I don't need a relay for the power steering. So now that that's off the list, that's one less wire that I have to run all the way to the back to the relay box. So the only thing that's going to the relay box is going to be the high beam lights, which is going to go to a light bar. The low beam lights probably as well, because I think those are like 22 watts a piece, and I'm going to have 4 of them. So yeah, it's going to put me like almost at 100 watts. So yeah, the low beams, high beams, which is going to be light bars, and all the rock lights are going to go to a relay. So that's 3 relays just for that. Everything else I think we're going to be good on. This thing is slowly coming together. I need to get with Jake and see when he plans on having the motor ready, but either way, I still need to order a 300 EX carb and a exhaust, which that's going to be pretty fun to fit because it's a 300 EX exhaust that you just have to bend a little bit to make it fit. So I'm ordering some 6AN fittings for the oil cooler, get that going. There's a couple of fittings I'm not sure what size there are on the actual oil cooler itself. It's got some red ones on it right now that'll work and get me by just for testing and all that, so I can for sure figure out what size. So I'll order what I think I need. I know I need 1/8 inch to 6AN adapters for the oil plate. I know I'm running 6AN line. I just don't know what the fitting is on the actual oil cooler itself. Looking up some gauges, some oil temp gauges. That way it'll tell the fan when it needs to kick on. Still waiting on the battery. The battery's not going to be here until the 20th, so I can't test that out until it gets here. So I can do some of the wiring, but as far as the main wiring for the whole bike itself, like the relay box and all that, there's some stuff that I can't do. I'm a little limited on that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I talked to Jake. Hopefully I can pick up the motor the 26th. I'm off of work and I'm off until March 12th. If I can go pick up the motor that weekend, then hopefully I'll be able to slap it in, test the bike a little bit, and put an hour or 2 on it, see how it runs. And this is if I can get all the parts to test it, I would have enough time to strip it all back down and powder coat everything before mud nat. But it's looking like I will be able to make mud nats. It's just a matter of, will this thing fully be ready? I know the audio probably will not be ready. I probably won't have any speakers ready for mud nats, but at least the bike will hopefully be running for mud nat. It's just a matter of, will it be powder coated or not? That we don't know. But hey, as long as it makes it there, I'll be happy. And as long as I can test it before I even go to make sure nothing serious is going to break, then we'll be all right. I don't plan on putting this in the mud, but hey, we'll find out if she floats. I'm a little nervous, especially with the motor that's going in it to sink it. That's a pretty penny to sink the motor, but I really think this thing's going to be like a Sherp and float. So we'll find out. That's where we're at, guys. Waiting on some parts. As soon as those parts come in, I will start recording and give y'all another update video, but we'll see how it goes. Y'all stay tuned, subscribe if y'all want to see this build. I am excited how this thing's starting to come out. I'm ready to get it done. It's been a long time coming, so y'all stay tuned.